Thank you for joining us so early in the morning. This is the Traders Exclusive Live Trader Showcase. I'm Sherry, your hostess with the mostest. Does everybody still say that? I don't know. This is the quarterly event where we feature expert traders and bring you training and insights from 20 expert traders. We have prize giveaways for everyone in attendance. We're going to do some drawings. We have some surprise interviews with traders who wanted to share how they got started in trading and a couple other things. You get the registration that you did covers all 3 days. Please check out tradersexclusive.com, where we regularly post articles and video clips with valuable trading tips and techniques. This is also where you're going to find the recordings for this event. And before we get started, we have to share a quick disclaimer. You know it. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your circumstances, knowledge, and financial resources. You may lose all or more of your initial investment. Opinions, market data, and recommendations are subject to change at any time. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This is training. You have to do your own research, and you should always verify and research. So please take some notes and write down your questions when someone's speaking. Most speakers will want you to wait until the end of their presentation before you ask your questions, but if you'll write them down, a little context will be fine. What we're going to do today is I'm going to put the schedule up on the screen. You should be able to see it. We did think that March should be discovering women in trading. So that's what we're going to do. I've got some trivia. I do have a ton of awesome prizes from our speakers. And then at 10 o'clock, our first speaker up is going to be Marina Villatoro. We will go until 1 o'clock Eastern time. We'll take 30 minutes for a break, and then we'll have our last 2 speakers, and then we'll finish up around 5:30, 6 o'clock. So again, we will have a recording. So let's see. If you need anything at all, send a question in your questions box or support@tradersexclusive.com. This is a breakdown of who's coming this week. Today we've got Marina, Sunny, Tony Hansen, Simon Klein, Melissa Armo, Larry Gaines, and Rick Sadler. It's going to be awesome. And tomorrow we have Simon, Joseph, Andrew Keene, Norman Hallett, Doc Severson, Kenny Glick, Todd Horwitz, Dan Passarelli. And then on day 3, we're going to end a little bit early with Thomas Asprey, Dave Lucas, Anka Metcalf, Adrian and Julie Mantz, and Paul Lang. So I think you're going to be liking this lineup, and we should have some great training going on. All right, here we go. So you know where you are, and you know there's risk. We already did the disclaimer. The schedule is up. Our first speaker is here. I'm really happy to announce Marina Villatoro. Marina, the trader chick, Villatoro. She's going to talk to us about becoming a profitable trader and getting back to the basics of day trading. She did do an interview for us, but I figured she could speak for herself here today. I'm going to use that tomorrow. And one of the things that you need to know about Marina is that she specializes in helping people to day trade with confidence and ease. She simplifies the process by completely breaking down the art of identifying high probability trade setups. So even if you're just getting started, you could learn to day trade profitably and read the markets like a pro. You'll be amazed how simple it can be. Welcome, Marina. I appreciate you coming on. I'm glad it's not the middle of the night for you.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, it's in the middle of the day for me right now. Thank you for having me.
Well,
and hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. So I need to turn my, be able to share my screen. I'm not really seeing how I could do that. Oh, there we go. And do you have the question box? I only see a chat box. Yeah, if you.
There you go.
So that I could be seeing everything.
There we go. You should have it now.
And yes, are you guys seeing my screen? Let me know, Sherry, if you could see my screen, please.
I can see your screen.
Awesome. All right. Hi, everybody. So excited to be here. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Sherry, for arranging all of this and organizing. I know how hard it is to do one day and you've mastered 3 days. So good for you guys. You guys are going to hear so many amazing people chat and talk. And that's all because of Sherry. She did all the hard work. Thanks, Sherry,
Thank
for
you.
arranging all of this. Okay, let's dive in. I would love to first know before I get started, where are you guys coming from? There is a bunch of people in the room, so I would love to know, where is everybody here from? Germany. Oh, William, so you should be on my time zone, right? You should be at 3 p.m. right now, although I don't know, because Spain did not go through daylight savings time. I don't know if Germany did. I'm still getting used to all this Europe time zones and stuff like that. And whom else? Florida, Joseph, nice. Billy Ray is from Cleveland. Gwen, Palm Desert, California. So it's super early for you, Pam, right? Gwen, I mean, it must be like, I think 7 in the morning. Ooh. AMUSNH, is that New Hampshire? I think, oh, Czech Republic, another person from Europe. Woohoo. Well, welcome everybody. I am so happy to be here. And 3 p.m., you know, it's perfect time. You're still not too tired. The market's just opened and you've already enjoyed half of the day, right? And you still have a great more half of the day to come. I absolutely love being on this schedule, especially with the markets. Well, let's jump in, guys. Let's enjoy the day and the presentation. I am Marina. This is me, the Trader Chick. And today I want to be covering about, it's really interesting, you know, a lot of times, especially with the financial markets where there's absolutely no barrier to entry, we overlook the super basic stuff, right? Because we have this, I don't know if it's like this misconception that it needs to be complicated, and we overlook like this thing, the basics that really can make all the difference, right? It's like when you learn a new language, you would never imagine walking into a room full of, let's say, Spanish speakers, all fluent Spanish speakers or native Spanish speakers who don't speak a word of your language, and think that you're just going to be able to join in on their conversation and keep up with it, right? Because you understand that you need to learn how to speak the language, even if it's just the basics. Hola, mi nombre es Marina, right? Yet with the financial markets, because there's zero barrier to entry, all we think is if we have some money, we can get in and make money, which is obviously never the case for anything. And we overlook those things that could truly help us make the money. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on today, guys, because you can be successful in day trading and in the financial markets. We just have to shift that little perception and concrete our understanding a little bit better. And today, that is what I'm going to be helping you guys with. So just really important before we get into the presentation, I am here to help you guys. My goal is for you to definitely learn, but the best way to learn is to be interactive, right? I actually always say day trading is not a spectator's sport. You have to be in it to win it. I know that sounds cliche, but the reality is just that. You really need to get your feet wet. So asking questions, getting into that game, that is how you're going to be able to get further ahead. And that is what I'm here for. And that's what we're all here for, right? Is to teach you something, but also for us to really help and answer your questions and so much more. So please, guys, send me your questions. I am here specifically for that. So here I am. I want to do a quick intro of who I am. I am Marina, the Trader Chick, and I am now an expat living in Barcelona, Spain. We actually just moved here 5 weeks ago. Before that, I have actually been an expat for over 20 years at this point. We lived in Central America for 20 years. And now we are now here. My whole family is here. We just moved to Spain. And I actually get a lot of people that ask me about how to become an expat, how to move to Central America, and now I could also help you with Europe. But because that is a little bit different than teaching the financial markets, I am happy to answer all your questions via email. So you could just email me, thetraderchick@gmail.com. I'm happy to help with the expat stuff. But the number one thing that people always are concerned about is how is the internet situation? Because being a day trader, it's all about the internet service. So let me tell you guys, internet pretty much at this point is amazing everywhere you go in the world. And when I lived in Guatemala, and I lived in Guatemala for 14 years, the internet there was fantastic. And in Spain, it's mind-blowing how fantastic it is. So never let that stop you from living your best life and going and moving to a new country. You could trade anywhere. My other thing that I really want to tell you guys about is before I became a day trader, I was actually a fitness instructor and a travel writer. I'm still a travel writer, although today I hire a personal trainer, but I was a fitness instructor. And mainly the reason why I bring this up is because a lot of people have this notion that you have to come from a financial background or that you have to have a math background or economic background. None of that is true. So that's really why I bring that up. Anyone can be day trading. You just have to apply yourself, commit to it, right? And to learn it rather than, oh, I have some money, let me put my money in the market and then obviously lose because you don't know what you're doing. But that's not the problem. The problem is, I mean, it's not the problem of what you were doing as before you entered the market. The problem is that a lot of people just jump into the market without actually learning anything about it. And I am trilingual. And the main reason I bring up that I am trilingual is one thing that I recognized when I was really struggling for years. I've been now doing this for over 11 years. And I really struggled for a long time. And once I realized, so I am a Soviet Union refugee. We moved to the United States when I was really young. So I learned, so my mother tongue is Russian, but I learned English when I was really young. So I didn't really learn English as a new language as much as I just kind of continued learning how to speak, and English just happened to be that next thing. But I learned Spanish in my late 20s. And there's a whole other process when you learn a new language in your later years. And after struggling for a long time with the markets, I decided to look at it like that. I shifted my perception. I'm like, okay, let me focus on it from how I learned Spanish. And then I decided, you know what? I'm going to look at it like I think the market has its own language. And that's when I realized that the market does have its own language and it speaks to us. And once you stop thinking that you're going to beat the market or predict the market and start to listen to it and work with it, that's when everything changed for me. And the coolest thing about trading, I'm going to say it again, as long as you have internet and a laptop, you could do it from anywhere in the world, because I am still a travel writer. Me and my family, we travel 2 to 4 months out of the year. So for me, for us, travel is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And I can't just, stop working. So being able to work wherever I go, that's the coolest thing about trading, right? And before COVID hit, I used to do a lot of in-person presentations. I don't know, I sometimes get people that have seen me at either the Money Show or the Traders Expo, but obviously once COVID hit, a lot just, we started to do everything virtually, and I prefer that now because I could reach so many more people. So before we get into the actual presentation, I do have a full-on cheat sheet, I guess you could call it, or a worksheet for free that you could follow along. So go to makingofadaytrader.com, makingofadaytrader.com, so you can follow along really easily. All right, guys, let's understand some of the most basic things, because one thing that I always get whenever I tell people, oh, I day trade, oh, and their response is usually, yeah, I really want to learn how to invest. Here's the thing. Day trading is not investing. And why is it not investing? Because unlike investing, in day trading, we do not want to diversify. As a matter of fact, I always say I day trade to invest. They are under the same umbrella, but they are incredibly different. With day trading, you do not want to diversify. You want to focus on the one thing. Now, imagine your child comes up to you and they're like, Mama or Papa, I want to learn how to play a musical instrument. And you're like, okay, awesome. Let's do it. Which musical instrument do you want to learn? Well, they respond, I want to play the piano, the harpsichord, the flute, and the drums. And you look at them and you're like, but they're all so different. Why don't you pick one, really learn that one, and then if you're interested, we will continue with others, right? Because the reality is, financial market, which actually we call them financial instruments, is the same thing, right? They are very different. You cannot learn how to play the flute the same way you will learn how to play the violin. They're incredibly different, right? One is air, the other is strings. And once you master one, then yes, you'll be easier for you to learn the next one. And the majority of the times I get so many people that want to work with me and they're like, okay, I want to trade, blah, 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 blah. And they're also different. And at the end of the day, what happens is the more you trade, the more you lose, right? Because you cannot be in 4 different vehicles at the same time on 4 different terrains. Once you learn one, then you can move on to the next. And if you guys get anything out of that, out of my presentation today, this could probably be your greatest aha moment in saving grace. And that's when you could really start to really move forward and take your trading to that next notch. The other difference with investors and traders is investors actually invest and care about the company they are putting their money into. If I am investing in Apple, I really want to know, when is their next iPhone coming out? What is their next product, right? I'm investing, so it's okay for me to see their ups and downs. I'll stick through it. In trading, I don't care if their next iPhone comes out in 2 or 3 months. I'm only looking at the technical analysis right here in front of me today. And the cool thing about day trading is that we can benefit from the markets going up or the market's going down, because we don't care. It's all about the technical analysis. And that's the most important thing of all. Now, what I really want to focus on as well is busting these myths about day trading. I call them myths, but really in reality, they are limiting beliefs, right? So when you have a limiting belief, you limit yourself to move forward. And a lot of times when those limiting beliefs are busted, that's all of a sudden all these floodgates open and you see so many new opportunities. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing today, is really focusing on these limiting beliefs or these myths. First and foremost, the biggest one is that it's too risky, that day trading is gambling. Okay, so let me give you this example for you guys to understand the gamble in day trading. Imagine you met somebody and they say to you, hey, I want to be a pilot. And you're like, oh, awesome, cool. The next day, they are in a plane with their entire family trying to get off, fly away, and then remarkably try to make a landing without anybody helping them. You would look at them and you're like, these guys will never get out, into the air. And if they do, it is a kamikaze mission and they're going to commit suicide by landing because they have no idea how to do anything, because it is completely understandable. And none of us would ever get into a plane with somebody who decided the night before that they want to be a pilot, right? Because it is expected for them to go to pilot school, to do simulation hours, to work with an instructor, and then to put in other hours, right? So why is it that once somebody decides they want to go and trade or put their money into the financial markets, they decide and they do it that same day without having any information, expect to become quote unquote millionaires, and are completely flabbergasted when they lose all their money, and then they go and say that it's gambling. Yeah, for sure it's gambling. They don't even know what they're doing. How could that not be a gamble? Yet, going back to the pilot analogy, if they did their instructions, if they put in the time, if they put in the practice hours, do you think they would be gambling? Chances are no. Now they understand what's going on. There's a strategy. They are understanding. They also know how much that they could risk, be in control. The gamble is gone. Okay? That's why it's considered a myth, because once you put in the time to learn it, it's not a myth anymore. The next massive misconception is that you need $25,000 to get started. I cannot even tell you what a lie that is. So here's the reality. You can start in any market at any denomination. $100, $500, $1,000. You do not need a large account. This $25,000 thing began because brokers, which we're going to really talk about, a lot of people do not understand the importance of a broker or the role of the broker, is that brokers, quote unquote, give you this perk. If you have $25,000, they will give you a margin account. Margin accounts is the same thing as loan sharking. All right, get that through your head, guys. It's like loan sharking. Why? I will explain to that a lot. You do not need a margin account. It is not obligatory. It is certainly not mandatory. And you could start trading at any amount of money. You do not need $25,000. Okay, super important to understand. The other thing that I mentioned earlier, that you have to be a math whiz or have a financial background. No way. I have no idea how to do math. I never have to put any math into any of my trading. The only time I do actual any math is when I'm adding up my profits or I'm subtracting my losses, and I could use a calculator for that. Everything is through technical analysis, which is not math based. Okay? It's really important for people to understand that. And I have zero financial background, and no one needs to have a financial background. Okay? The other thing is that it's too stressful and too chaotic. Well, if you're looking at this, yeah, I mean, come on, guys. Who would not be stressed with all these different things buzzing and lighting and sounds? There's no human in the world that is capable of sustainably dealing with this in front of them. It's not possible. Okay, it's simply not possible. We are not programmed that way. So I use one chart, one monitor. That is it. This will completely bring you to complete deterioration. It is unsustainable. Okay, the other thing, this is a huge, huge problem. Okay, is that you always need to buy a new software, a new indicator, a new algorithm. It is actually a syndrome. It is called the shiny object syndrome, meaning that you have to always get that newest, latest shiny object thing because you think that's what's going to take you to that next level. The only people making money from softwares, indicators, algorithms are the ones selling them. No one else. They do not help you become a better trader, because if you don't have a strategy, it will not make any difference. There is no magic pill. Okay, you do not need it. The only software you do need is a charting software. And today there are many magnificent charting softwares that you can start with for free to see if you like them. And they all offer universal indicators, which is more than enough for you to put into your software. You do not need any more. The other massive misconception is news. Okay, I cannot tell you the amount of people that quote unquote trade stocks. They wake up at 4 in the morning, sit in front of the news and research. Then the markets open. They are in the markets with their charts from 9:30 till 4, going crazy, completely unsustainable. And then after, they're back in the news researching. None of that will work. It's so unsustainable. The whole point of learning to trade is that you're only doing it for an hour or two per day, right? But when you're putting in all this other mishmash, it doesn't work. First and foremost, all the people talking on the news, they have a pretty large medium and they have their own agenda. Okay, there is no such thing as an expert, and usually it's this buying the rumor, selling the news thing. Guys, you don't need any of that. You don't need that. What you need is technical analysis. All right, when you understand technical analysis, that is all you need. You just open up your chart, you look at what is happening on that chart. This takes me 5 minutes. I'm understanding. I don't care if the market is plummeting. I don't care if the market is soaring, because I'm looking what's in front of me, and that's all I need. Now, here's another thing. Trigger happiness. There is this crazy misconception that we need to be in and out of trades all the time. I personally was a complete victim of this. Okay, when I first began trading, I was in for a 2-hour session. I was in and out of 40 trades. It is ludicrous. First of all, if I was winning, I was still losing because of the commissions. Okay, and with time, when I started to realize what a pro trader really is, pro traders are maybe taking 1 to 3 trades per day because they are strategic and highly profitable moves. Okay, and that's the way it needs to be. So imagine this. Imagine a big game hunter. I do not condone hunting, but it's the best example that I can give you guys. Imagine a big game hunter. Okay, when they go out to the field, are they shooting at every field mouse and prairie dog? No, they are sitting, waiting patiently for the big game. Day traders, successful ones, are very similar in that exact way. Okay, that is how we need to do it. I actually even say the most radical way to trade is conservatively, because the only time we hear about the positive aggressive behavior when people are taking these enormous, paybacks, we don't hear about their enormous losses. Because if you're going to be doing risky moves, you usually have to put a lot on the table, and we don't want that, right? So small profits daily usually bring in big profits yearly, because you're consistent, because this becomes your livelihood, right? It is not just a one-off, because one-offs don't last. I mean, they don't even really pay out. The other thing that is really, really common is FOMAT. I actually coined this myself, FOMAT, or you guys maybe have heard FOMO, fear of missing out. I call it fear of missing a trade. This is a real problem. So what happens? You might be watching the charts. I don't know if you're in some chat room that you don't really understand what's going on, but they just mentioned that there could be this good trade, and all of a sudden you're looking and you missed that trade, and now you want to chase that trade because you're fearing that there'll never be another trade. And all of a sudden it's this emotional roller coaster, right? Because you finally chase that trade, the trade changes on you, you lose money, then you want to revenge trade. It's crazy, right? And we've all been there. It's super emotional. The thing is here, guys, there is always another trade coming. There is always another trade coming. Get that through your head, mark it, make a big sign of it. I don't care, but there will always be another trade coming. It might be in 5 minutes, it might be in an hour, it might be tomorrow, but it's coming. So stay out, keep that money in your pocket without chasing, and be in the moment logically without being emotionally. Okay, you want to take a rational viewpoint rather than, oh my God, there's no more trades, I got to catch that one, right? We've all been there. You don't want to go there. Now, let's talk about what to trade. Back to the musical instrument, that one musical instrument, what to trade. Okay, so here's the thing. There are 5 markets that we could focus on, right? So let's figure this out, right? What is Forex, right? I know that there's a lot of people saying Forex is one of the most popular markets out there, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of times we don't even do that properly. So what is Forex, right? Forex is foreign exchange, right? So basically what you're doing is you're taking 2 pairs of currencies and you're working with them. The most popular ones have definitely been the euro versus the dollar, and there's some others. So the thing is, if you're going to be doing too many pairs, that means you have to follow too many countries, too many egos, because the majority of the time the money fluctuates because one quote unquote egotistical leader said something stupid and the money either plummets or goes up. Very little to do with what's actually happening and the strength of the coins. So it's better to focus on 1 pair, at most 2 pairs, right? So if you're going to be doing Forex, don't be crazy and just focus on 2 types of pairs at most so you can keep up with it, right? And I love this. Equities. Sometimes I meet people and I'm like, oh, so what do you trade? I'm equities. I trade stocks. I'm like, okay. There are literally 5,000 different stocks on the US market alone. So I'm like, you're doing 5,000 different ones. What are you doing, right? The people that are successful, the stock traders that are actually successful, this is how they do it. They could choose a sector, pharmaceuticals, technology, entertainment. They focus only on that. How about big caps? How about small caps? Also, I know a lot of really successful traders that only focus on one, Tesla, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft. Those are such highly volatile, high volume stocks and companies that it's really fun to be able to really focus them. But when you're focusing on those specifically, you learn it, you understand their movement, you understand how it flows, you are able to master it, right? Rather than completely spread yourself thin and end up losing everything. The other thing is futures, commodities, right? So I personally am technically a futures trader. I trade only the ES mini, which is the S&P 500 index on the futures market. But when people are like, "Oh, I trade futures," I'm like, "So are you trading wheat and crude and soy?" Because none of them are moving in the same way. They are so uniquely different and they move so differently. So basically, you need to also focus on the one thing. I personally love the E-minis, the ES, because it moves. It has such volatility that it's really fun to move, right? And it flows. But I've also been doing it now for over 11 years. So I've really mastered it, okay? So if you really want to focus on something, give it time. You might not end up enjoying it after a little while, but you gave it a chance rather than going into everything at once, losing everything, and then saying it's a risk, right? Options, great. If you guys want to do options, and I know a lot of options traders, stick to options. Don't do options and then Forex. Options and equities, stick to options. Master the options, then move on. And this is another one, crypto. You know, crypto is always an issue with crypto, right? There's always some sort of a problem with crypto, whatnot. I get it. You still want to be in it, fine. But if you're going to be in it, again, when I say, "Oh, you trade crypto," what do you trade? Bitcoin. Bitcoin is 1 out of 6,000. 6,000 altcoins or projects, right? So again, you need to know what you're doing. So if you're doing Bitcoin, great, focus on that one. Or if you want to do altcoins, which ones, okay? So super, super important to be really focused on those. Find the market that really resonates with you and learn it. Okay, a lot of times I get people that come to me, you know, like I said, they want to do all these different markets, and then we just decide, let's master just the one. And they focus and they do really well. And guess what? They never really want to learn the others, because for us, it's all about making the money, right? It's all about earning money consistently, livelihood. Yes, some people do move on to maybe one other, but chances are they do not do many more. It's just too much. Our minds cannot handle that much different information. Okay, now let's talk about demystification of brokers and the margin accounts, because a lot of people have the wrong idea of what the role of the broker is. So here is the role of the broker. I'm going to give it to you in layman's terms. Imagine you want to buy a pair of jeans and you walk into a store and there is a cashier there, and they are, you know, they're there to kind of help you, but not really. They do not care if those jeans fit you, if those jeans are too expensive for you, if those jeans, whatever, they don't care at all. The only thing they care about is making the sale of the jeans, right? Because a lot of those cashiers or sales reps, they make commission, right? Their only job is to sell you those jeans. They do not care about anything else. Brokers are those sales reps. Their only job is for you to buy and sell whatever it is you're selling. They don't care if you know what you're doing. On the contrary, they prefer you not knowing anything because they make more money that way. Okay, so when brokers start to pressure you into buying this or helping you, they're not there to help you. They are not there. Their only thing to do is to sell and buy. you need to find the broker, first of all, that specializes in the market that you want to trade in. If you want to buy a dress, are you going to walk into a jeans place when they might have one dress? First of all, that dress might be really ugly, might be overpriced, right? So do you want to work with a broker that specializes in equities, but you want to do crypto? No, because that's not their specialty, and they're going to charge you that much more for their commissions and all that other stuff. So you need to first back it up. What market do you want to learn? Because you could do all of that without being with a broker, and then get the right broker. Now, margin accounts. They are loan sharking tools. I'm going to say that again. Why? Here's what a margin account is, okay? Your broker sees that you have this amount of money, let's say $25,000. Usually that's the minimum that you need for a margin account. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. So if you buy with all this money that you have, we will also give you another $25,000 on margin. What are they doing? They're lending it to you. They don't care if you win or lose with that money, because at the end of the day, they're like, okay, pay up. And on top of that, pay up with interest. Stay away from margin accounts. When they ask you, do you want to have a margin account? Say no. Okay? Really important. You do not need it. And as a matter of fact, the least amount of money you have in your broker account, the better, because then it's the least amount tempting that you will end up losing. Okay? Now, let's talk about commissions. Again, if you are with an equities broker and you want to trade crypto, they're going to be charging you a lot more commission, because that's not what they do. They have to commission out another brokerage to help them with that, right? So if you want to do crypto, how about not Kraken? How about not Coinbase? These are the ones that focus on that. If you want to do equities, do TD Ameritrade, do whatever, I don't even know. The point is, you find the specialty brokers. I do futures, so I am with a futures broker. They give me the best commissions and feed. So what does that mean? What is live feed? You cannot be on delayed feed if you want to be a day trader, right? Feed is like the gasoline that you put in your car. You need to run that car. Otherwise, it's not going to go anywhere. You need to have live feed to give you the correct quotes in real time. Okay, platforms. I have mentioned this before. I'm going to mention it again, because without a platform, you cannot be a trader. If you want to be a Formula One driver, you cannot do it in a minivan. If you want to play the guitar, you cannot be air guitaring. I know that that's a thing. It doesn't matter, because once you put your air guitaring fingers on a real guitar, you're not going to know how to play that guitar. You need to have the real platform. Today, there are so many amazing platforms out there, guys. They're amazing, and they have incredible free indicators that are part of it. That is the only software that you really need to get. If you guys don't know or are having difficulties, I am so happy to help you with this. I have been around for years. So when I began, there was only like 3 or 4 platforms. Today, there's at least 20, and I have seen them all. I've worked on the majority of them. So I'm happy to help you guys choose the best one for you. Okay? Now, let's talk about that trading lingo, because I mentioned earlier, you cannot enter a full-on Spanish-speaking conversation if you don't even know how to say, hola, mi nombre es, right? The same thing for trading. It has its own lingo. Intraday trading. What is that? You're literally in and out of all of your positions in the same day. Why does that matter? Because if you're swing trading or investing, you're not going to be on the right time zone, on the time frame, right? Because day trading, you're looking at a chart 1 minute, 3 minute, 15 minute. If you're swing trading, you're going to be looking at charts maybe, 1 day, 1 week, depending on how long. So understanding that, you could then move on. What's a bull market? It's literally the market moving up. Bear market, literally a market going down. But besides the bull market and the bear market, or upward, downward, you also have a sideways trend. And a lot of people forget that this is literally the most important trend there. Why? Because this is the trend that takes all your money. So if you avoid it, you will not only be making the best decisions and the best trades after, but you'll also be saving yourself a lot of money. Sideways trends, also called as the channeling market, indecision area, transition area. the chop, whatever you want to call it, stay out of it. Now, really, really important. We've all heard about the risk management, though a lot of people are still doing their stupid mental stops, which is literally as stupid as putting on a mental seatbelt on your baby, thinking you're going to save them in a car crash. Get rid of that mental nonsense, because that's your ego winning, and ego will destroy you. But it's just as important to have a profit target, because ego then works in the opposite direction, and greed, excuse me, greed will always win over. So put in that profit target, because a lot of times people put it in, then they remove it because they think the market is going to continue moving in that direction. All of a sudden, it turns right where the profit was and stops you out. If you guys want to continue, split target, but you need a profit target and you need a risk management. And all of this can be done from the charts. Indicators. I personally use 2 indicators. I know a lot of people have all these different indicators. Guys, stop listening to all these gurus and everybody here or there giving you advice on their indicators that they're using. Find the ones that work best for you. At one point, I was using 10 indicators. I was in constant analysis paralysis until I eliminated them all and went in one at a time, kind of like an elimination process, to discover that 2 work for me. And again, all indicators, especially universal ones, are free with good charting platforms. And the trending market, up market, downward market, and that sideways market, that is the most important one to learn and understand. And a lot of people who don't have a clue how to trade or anything, they don't even know the difference between a buy and a sell. So what is a buy? Buy is when you are going long. You are going long. What does that mean? You are literally entering at a lower price point, exiting at a higher price point, and taking that money in between. Selling. Literally the opposite. You're shorting the market. What does that mean? That you are entering at a higher price point, exiting at a lower price point, and taking all that profit in between. You are selling, you are shorting the market. All right, guys, super important to know the difference. Now, the other thing is, when you are a pro trader, you put in a limit order. You tell the market where you want to be filled. When you are doing a market entry, meaning, oh, that looks really great, let me just hop in, the market knows you're an amateur. Because of that, when you do get filled, they give you a fine. It's called slippage. Usually it takes 20 to 25% of where you entered immediately less. So you need to tell the market where you want to enter, and that works from a strategy. Back to that stop limit, guys. You cannot not have your limit in place. You cannot have your stop in place. You need to tell the market, this is what I am willing to risk, and that is it. So important. Save your money. We've all been there. We've all lost accounts. This will prevent all of that. Now, I've mentioned many times about technical analysis. What is technical analysis? Technical analysis is free stuff. It's the language of the market. And if you understand it, you will completely take your trading to that next level and start winning. Most important areas, support and resistance areas. What is a resistance area? You have to, first of all, draw it in. Every single platform has drawing tools, even if it's just a straight line. What is a resistance area? It's the ceiling of the market. It's when the market is moving up and now starts to hit this top, starts to hit this ceiling. Boom. Support area. Again, it's the floor of the market. You're going down and the market is hitting that over and over again, because the market revisits and respects areas. And when you draw it in, you understand it. How do you spot these areas? Reversal patterns. These are my favorite. Reversal patterns, they're free and you can do it on any market. What is that? Triple tops, triple bottoms, double tops, double bottoms, head and shoulders, and divergence. I am the biggest divergence believer there is. This is my holy grail. As you can see here, I have price action on top, and then below I use the MACDs, because the MACDs, I find them to be the least lagging. And you can see here that the price action is moving up while the MACDs is going down, right? That's where the divergence hits. Okay, so I want to put all this together. Again, remember, I have a worksheet for you guys, makingofadaytrader.com. Go there. Now, let's put this together. When you have drawn in your resistance area, this is when we can start to spot the most important trades, most powerful trades, the breakout trade. We all know of the breakout trade, but if you don't have it drawn in, if you don't understand how it is when it breaks out, when you're out of that sideways zone, you're going to miss out on the most beautiful trade there is, right? Breakout trade is probably the most powerful trade that you could take. But if you're overlooking it, and this is again, free technical analysis, everything is right there. It comes with any charting software. Boom, you could do it. All right, guys. So here's the thing. Everything you need to take action, you have right in front of you, right? We have these amazing summits that we learn from a lot. We have YouTube videos that we could see and watch, unlimited amount. We have podcasts. We have different books. I mean, it just goes on and on. But how do you know that you are doing it right? How do you know after watching all these videos, after all these summits, and then you sit down in front of your charts, how do you know that you are doing it right? Because all of this is great, but the real question that you're constantly asking is, how do I really get started? Where? There's so much information out there, and this isn't from beginners only. A lot of seasoned traders have the same questions. So I've been doing this for ages, and they ask me, what can I do to turn this around, to be profitable consistently? Right? How can I make this a livelihood? And usually it's literally just lacking these basics and understanding these basics. I actually always say, we cannot be putting in our windows without building our walls. And the basics are those walls, that's that foundation that holds it together, that you could start to do all those things. And a lot of times we just overlook the basics. Here's a great example. My 19-year-old just recently learned how to drive a car, right? Me and my husband have been driving cars for over 30 years at this point. So when we get in the car, we don't even think about that. We originally learned the basics of driving. So we hopped in the car and we're like, okay, buckle up, put your foot on the clutch, put your other foot on the brake, put it into first gear, and then remove the clutch slowly. He's like, clutch, gear, what are you talking about? Right? Because even understanding the steering wheel, where is the accelerator, those are the basics. But today we hop in and that's our foundation. Now, just imagine somebody gets in your car who has never seen a car before, and you tell them, okay, put on your seatbelt, buckle up, it's going to save your life. And they're like, seatbelt, buckle up, it's going to save my life. I don't know what that is. They've never seen it. How could they put in something that could literally save their life? And it's so simple, but no one ever taught them that, right? And that's what happens to us often. And this is my own personal sad truth. I had spent over $20,000 on different trainings, mentorships, summits, chat rooms. And every time I would ask basic questions, what is a resistance area? What is a divergence? I would either be completely ignored or treated as if though I was born with this information. But none of us are born with any information. We learn everything. And that is why I struggled for years, because I believed that I had to already be, really understanding the hard stuff before learning the most important stuff. And that led me to lose almost $4,000 in 5 minutes. No joke. I lost that much money and I felt so defeated. I felt like such a loser because at this point I was putting in over 2 years of my time, of my money. I mean, it was horrible. And then I finally quit. I quit. I walked away. I was so defeated. But here's the thing. All of us, I can guarantee in this room, are bit by the trading bug. All of us are bit by the trading bug, and it never stops itching. And do you know why? Do you know why that is? Because deep down inside, we know that we can do this. We know that we can do this. Okay, and the truth is that we can do this. And after about 3 or 4 months, I decided to come back and just study the basics. So I literally had 3 monitors, and 10 indicators. Like I mentioned earlier, I was in constant analysis paralysis. I took 2 of my monitors. They were less than a year old, high definition, and I donated it to my garbage men. I hope that they really put them into good use because they were almost new. I then removed all of my indicators, and that's when I started to do the process of elimination. I was just doing one at a time to see which really worked for me. And it was amazing because I ended up with only 2. And I simplified so much that so much of my stress was just completely relieved, right? I'm not in analysis paralysis. I focus on what's happening in front of me. And then obviously that has helped me become a successful trader. And that's when I started to teach because I was sharing my strategy. And one of my students comes up to me a while back, a couple of years back, and he's like, Marina, your teaching philosophy is very similar to Coach John Wooden. And I'm like, who is Coach John Wooden? I never heard of this guy. So obviously I went and Googled him. And Coach John Wooden is he's passed away, was a legendary basketball coach. I mean, this guy was unbelievable. His entire philosophy was, when in doubt, get back to the basics. And I mean, this guy has led his team to win 88 national championships, 10 NCAAs. I don't think any coach has even come close to what he has done. He trained and worked with the greatest of the greatest basketball players. Yet, every season when they began, he started with the basics: how to tie your shoe, how to roll up your sock, how to dribble your ball. Why? Because ego is going to always beat you, no matter how many successful moments you've had. And if you're out on that court and you overlook the basics and you don't tie your shoelace properly and you're on the court, you're running, and all of a sudden your shoe falls off or it's loose, boom, you sprain your ankle. It doesn't matter all of your other winnings. Guess what? You're sitting out on that sideline for the rest of the season. Okay, that's how important it is. So today I have a very special offer for the participants only. It's my introductory course, Bootcamp for Day Trading. You guys could do it on any apparatus, laptop, tablets, phones, desktop, and all of this one-time price. I'm offering it for $97. So go here right now, put in bootcampfordaytrading.com. Put in right now bootcampfordaytrading.com, and let's go together and see all that you can get for $97. Because what can you get today for the same amount of dollars for $97? Are you guys into golf? So me and my husband were playing golf in Guatemala. When we first moved to Guatemala almost 15 years ago, and it was a beautiful course. Maybe it was like $25 per person. Before we left, like a few months back, it was already $119 per person in Guatemala. Okay? Do you guys like to go out to eat? Take your friends out, take your family out? Guess what? Even in Guatemala, for me and my husband, towards the end, it was over $100 for both of us to just have a good meal and wine. There's very little that you could get for $97. So let me break it down for you guys what you get with this one-time $97 fee. This is not ongoing. This is not recurring. So go here, bootcampfordaytrading.com, put it in so you guys could see exactly what we're talking about. Here's what you get. First of all, simplifying your entire day trading strategy, right? A lot of times, a lot of people have a lot of issues setting up their software and their charts. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been doing this for years. I give you a 30-minute tutorial. We work on it together so that you guys could get into the fun stuff of actually trading and not getting caught up on the platform and the software information. Okay, boom. Then what we do is we break down and really go into the anatomy of the market. Like I mentioned earlier, the sideways market, that is your enemy. It's the trader's enemy. But learning how to stay out of it, learning to focus on when you break out, when it transitions, and getting into those strong trades, we go into all of that, really dissecting those markets, really focusing on reversals and divergence, because reversal patterns, they're free. They're on any kind of instrument that you want to work with, and we can learn how to spot it, and they will completely revolutionize your trading. Then we talk about the defensive zone strategies. Like I mentioned earlier, reversal patterns, how to spot those areas. Support and resistance areas, they are so important. I call them the seatbelts and the safety gear of trading. And once we learn how to spot them and draw them in, it's magic, right? And divergences. I cannot even tell you guys how much I love divergence. It is everything that I work from, and it's so simple to spot. It's understanding when the market is losing its strength, when the market is about to transition. Because if you're in the market and it's giving you weakness, do you want to be putting your money in there? No. You want to save it on when it gives you real strength and real confirmation. And we learn all of that. Okay, and then of course, we master the breakout and understand the power of that breakout trade. And we learn how to avoid the fake out breakout, because those happen very often. Okay, because understanding the fake out breakout and understanding where the breakout happens, that will be, I could say, almost the majority of your winnings. And you'll get unlimited access to the curriculum of the course. All of this is valued at $1,600. Okay, you get all of this for $1,600 value. That's the value of it, but $97 for you. So here's what some of my students have to say. And I have students from all over the world, because that's the beauty of trading, right? You can do it from anywhere. That's the most beautiful part about trading. Here's Michelle. Best money I've ever spent. I'm finishing boot camp and I am totally understanding everything. Derek, you are the only mentor that truly checks that work. Thanks for all the work that you do. Adrian, I am enjoying your boot camp so much. I am learning every day. But let me share something really important with you guys. Do you remember when I asked you, how do you know you're doing it right? How do you know that all that you are watching, all that information that you are digesting, how do you know that you are implementing it correctly? Who are you accountable to? Who is there to help you? So having a mentor for me changed everything. And what I am doing, I am giving you in that one-time $97 price, 1 month mentorship. Me and you will work unlimited amount, feedback, coaching, mentorship, that is included. I mean, the value of that alone is over $500. And this can really bring you to that top. Having a mentor, having somebody that will check your charts, talk to you about the charts, giving you the feedback, you asking a numerous amount of questions, that could bring you to that next level. And on top of that, I also run a private membership live chat room where it's me, nobody else, just me, no moderator, administrator, and we are in the live market together. This is on top of the mentorship. We do live trades, we check it, we sit and implement everything that we're learning, and you are there with me questioning in the live market. That is included as well, 1 month free membership. All of this is valued at $2,600. But for you guys, $97 one-time fee. Bootcampfordaytrading.com. Bootcampfordaytrading.com. Just put it into your navigator, bootcampfordaytrading.com. It will take you here. So here's what you guys get for that $97. Everything in the course. You get unlimited access. 30 days one-on-one mentorship with me, and 30 days in my live chat room membership. Now, here's the reality. We all know that the average trade that you are going to be taking is usually around $200 to $400 per trade, right? So this is $97 less than that one trade, and it will bring you 10 times the return of your investment, all the education that you are going to be getting and working with me. So now you'll be able to go out 100 times and take out your friends to dinners from all of that you learn. But here's the reality. Here's the thing. Because of my mentorship on that one-on-one work that we do together, I only have 25 spots available. Okay, I can only take on 25 students, and I know for a fact that there is a ton of people in this room right now that are getting it right this minute. So guys, you need to be on top of it. 25 spots. I only have that much available so that I can really give you my undivided attention and truly help you. So let's go here right now. Into your navigator, put in bootcampfordaytrading.com. bootcampfordaytrading.com, and everything that we just went over, you will have. You'll have mentorship with me for 1 month. You'll have the live membership in the chat room. You'll have unlimited access to the curriculum. Go right now, bootcampfordaytrading.com. Ready, guys? I'm here to totally help you. That is what I really want, because it's not about me making all this money. It's about you guys learning and not losing so much money. And it's really simple if you just start to simplify it and recognize those basics. That will change so much. I know for a fact. All right, guys, if you have any questions, I would love to answer any of your questions. And again, please go here, bootcampfordaytrading.com. And I'm so excited to work with you guys and really, really help you get to that next level. And thanks again for taking your time to be here. I know how important that is for everybody. And thank you so much, Sherry, for the invite back. And it's been a blast, as always. Thank you.
Really appreciate that. Okay, guys, so I've put it into the chat for you to see the bootcampfordaytrading.com. Marina, if you scroll up, Marina's email is up there too, and the making of a day trader. You can probably go back and check that out. And then you definitely need to check it out. I don't think there's any more to be said, huh?
Well, thank you. And bye, everybody. Thank you
Thanks for
so much
being
for
here.
your time.
I'll see you again soon.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.